A large model Showman'S engine, part 47. After the steam test, some things to look at. And the first thing to look at is this really nice lamp that was sent to me by a man called Ulrich from Germany. It's a really nice thing with a clever design. It has 4 mounting brackets, so you can change what you display just by using a different mounting bracket. One of the 4 sides is a door to put a burner inside. I have some LED flickering tea lights which may do the job. Once again, thanks for this, Ulrich, it's really good. And now the time has come for the post-mortem after the steam test. And the first casualty was this wonderful steam siren. If you watch the steam test, you'll see that no siren noise was being made. All it did was spray scalding hot steam on my friend Graham. It's time to open it up and have a look what's inside. These are the 2 turbine rotors that make the noise. And it shows signs of having rubbed against something. You can see the shiny mark all around it at one end. And lo and behold, when I looked inside the housing of the siren, there was a very small piece of grit, just small enough to stop the thing from working. In this clip, I marked the 2 parts with a felt tip pen to remind me which way they go back together. And here I'm piping some compressed air through the housing to blow away any other potential foreign objects. Right or wrongly, while I had the thing in pieces, I thought it would be a good idea to polish up the rotor using some brasso wadding. And guess what, when I put it all back together, it still didn't work. So I blasted it with some WD-40, both the rotors and the valve. Here I am putting it back together, and I assumed that the rounded part of the rotor was the bottom part. I fitted it all back together and tried it one more time with some compressed air. Not much in the way of sound, but plenty of WD-40 over my camera lens. Third time lucky, I unscrewed the top part and took the rotor out again. Could it be that I'm fitting the rotor the wrong way around? One end of the outer rotor is flat and the other one is beveled, so I thought, well, it's a good idea, I've nothing to lose, I'll turn it round. This is what happened when the bevel was at the top. That's more like it, although it didn't last long. What you have to remember is when this is in service, it's designed to be fed with high pressure steam, and the steam, as it condenses to water inside the unit, acts as a lubricant for the 2 rotors. I'm using WD-40 as a water substitute to lubricate the rotors, but as soon as I connect the air line, most of the WD-40 gets blown out of the unit. Also, the capacity of my compressor is very small. It's one of these silent type. It has what looks very much like a compressor from a fridge on the top of it, and below it is a very small air tank. So in no time at all, the air pressure drops and the siren doesn't work so well. In this clip, I'm giving the 2 rotors a final clean, blasting it with WD-40 at close range to make sure that there's nothing in the rotors that would be jamming them up. I applied a final coating of WD-40, assembled the rotors and fitted them into the housing. It's sort of working, but it's very hard to hold this valve in the right position. It's quite a strong spring. If you watch my videos regularly, you will hear me singing the praises of cold-pressed rapeseed oil as an anti-friction additive for my normal lubricating oil. The siren didn't like this much because it's a bit too thick and there was a bit of resistance, but at least it's starting to make a noise now. It did work a lot better when I squirted some WD-40 in there. The strong spring on the lever was hurting my hand, so I jammed my screwdriver in there to hold it in the open position. And this is much better, although the siren is a bit low pitched because the compressor has run out of air more or less. I think it's trying to run on about 30 pounds per square inch at the moment. And don't forget, the air blows away the lubrication. I took it apart one more time and just checked the rotors to make sure there were no marks on them. With a generous squirt of WD-40, I'll give it another test. The air soon runs out, but at least it's working. This is the damper from the ashpan, and as you can see there's a slight crack in the arm that the operating lever moves. This damper is a pain. When you drop the ashpan, when you drop the fire, you have to mess about removing a small split pin which holds the operating lever in place. This is a real pain because I have to lay on the ground to do this, and in any case the damper is ineffective. All that happens is I burn my fingers when I'm trying to release the split pin. If I want the fire to settle down, I've found the best way of doing this is to turn off the steam blower, which settles the fire fairly quickly. I've taped these parts together so I can fit them again if necessary. Down now into the garage, and I've refitted the Siren to the top of the cylinder. The last time I tried to drop the fire, I dropped the ashpan, but the grate stayed where it was. And after raking the fire for a few minutes, all of a sudden the fire grate dropped out. What I decided to do was just trim the fire grate round all the edges and make the two bits on the side fractionally smaller. And for this job I'm using my excellent Proxon angle grinder. This is fitted with a flapper wheel which just sands and polishes and doesn't remove too much material. But as you can see, it rounds the edges very well. I don't think the fire grate is too big for the firebox. I would assume that it's stuck in place owing to a piece of coal, but I didn't think it would be a bad idea to do what I'm doing. It's a good idea to round the edges of fire bars. That way there's less chance of the fire grate getting stuck to pieces of coal and ash. If you need to drop the fire in an emergency, you need to drop it quickly. I went back down to my garage where the traction engine lives and fitted the roof panels. These are a great feature on this engine. You lift them up and they have their own internal propping system, so you can lubricate the parts without having to go under the canopy. And that's about it for this episode. I'll find out in the next steam test whether the Siren is okay and see if the fire grate falls out of the firebox straight away when I pull the pin. And that's it for this one. Stay safe, stay well, thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my main Steam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.